Welcome back to Valley Chats, presented by First Bank. We have been invaded by France. It's the French Connection. The Suns' Elie Okobo and former Sun star Boris Diaw. Guys, great to have you on. First of all, where are you and how are you? We'll start with you, Boris.
Well, right now I'm in Salt Lake City. I dropped by Phoenix about a month ago for a couple of days, but then drove back here and pretty much confined in Utah for now.
How about you, Elie?
I'm in Phoenix at home, just chilling, working out, and enjoying the weather.
It's great to have you guys on. And Boris, we go back a long ways. And you obviously won Most Improved Player with the Phoenix Suns, your first season there after coming over from Atlanta. Is it still special to look back on those memories and those days with the Phoenix Suns?
Always. It's really got me the chance to actually, starting a real career in the NBA. And so I had so much good memories, so many good memories, such a good time here. And that era where we played with Barbosa, with Roger Bell, with Steve Nash, Grant Hill, Amare, Sean Marion. It was just a great time.
Now, at that point, Elie, you were like 7 or 8 years old during that 05-06 season when Boris won Most Improved Player. Were you watching him as a kid on television?
Yeah, I was. Obviously, Boris is from my hometown, so he was like the man over there, and I was watching the NBA since I'm a kid, and I always enjoyed it.
House laying it up for Boris Diaw, who finishes at the 10th floor.
Well, it's actually cool too to look back and look up Boris's stats and his career in the NBA. You go to Basketball Reference, Boris. I don't know if you've seen that underneath your name. It says 3D. So,
the nickname.
You remember what that stands for, right? It wasn't just your number.
Yeah, well, it was both. It was the number and then the triple double that I was doing a couple back in the days, and then being a threat in a different area of the court.
Yep. Drive, dish, and defend. Those were the 3Ds. You did it all. What did you respect about his game, Elie, as you watched him growing up?
The way he wasn't selfish, that was crazy. He was like, he had so many open shots when he was passing the ball, and he was so smart on the court. He was athletic. He could find all his teammates, and he was guarding the ball too. So, he was a leader, obviously.
And sometimes, Boris, you were even criticized for being too unselfish. I mean, Steve Nash once said it's infuriating sometimes because Boris would go right above the rim. He'd have a layup and kick it out for a three. But that's because of your unselfish nature. And you also had incredible court vision.
Yeah, and that's something, that was working at the time. I mean, we had the best three-point shooting team in the league by far. So it was like, why not using that in the team? And I think, it would get everybody going. Every time we would do these kind of plays and every time we made threes, I feel like the adrenaline of the team was getting a lot higher than if I was just, lay it up. So it was important for me to get the whole team bending behind that and getting hyped up for the rest of the game.
Boris, how long have you known Elie Okobo? And give me a scattering report on Elie, the basketball player, and Elie, the person.
Well, I probably, met Elie when he was 7 years old. I was actually playing on the playground with his father back in Bordeaux because, like we say, we're from the same hometown, and we used to go and play on the same court. So I was playing quite often with his father back in the days, and and it was just a kid, so I didn't know the basketball player at that time. And then, really got to discover him and see the way he was playing when he was playing in France. And then he went to Pau, which is also where I played my first professional team before I came to the NBA. And then I played against him a couple times also when he was playing in France. So yeah, been seeing him, growing and getting better and developing into the young man he is now.
And Elie, what are your memories of first meeting Boris? And also beyond that, how he has helped mentor you?
Yeah, I remember. I met him when I was like really young. I was going to the game where he was playing back in France and with my dad. And, he always gave me like good little advice. And then he was always smiling. He was really, really cool. And obviously watching him and be able to talk to him when I was playing pro back in France, and also since I got drafted in the NBA and playing for the Suns.
As Okobo connects on the triple.
He just gave me a little advices, and I always take it like really seriously because obviously he got a lot of experience and he knows the game of basketball.
What are the specific bits of advice that Boris has given you that you've really been able to turn into, useful and helpful advice in your NBA career?
Being able to make the right play at the right time.
Aiden takes the feed inside from Okobo.
Being smart, don't make all this little mistake. They'll make me grow as a basketball player, and I think that's the main thing,
And to stay humble too, because we played national team for about a week together back in France. So pretty much my last week playing in national team, and his first week playing in the national team. And so, it was this young, arrogant kid, and him and his friend thought he could play 2-on-2 against me and another old guy in France. And so, we played 2-on-2s. Like, we beat you old guys. You guys, too slow. So we beat them 5-0. So I think, we could teach them a little bit to stay humble.
Yeah, I can't even imagine an arrogant Elie Okobo. You guys are both so down to earth.
I'm kidding when I say arrogant, but he did think he could beat the old guys, and he got a reality check real quick.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a French thing or what, but I mean, you guys are always so approachable. You've been so good with the fans, so easy to talk to. And the Suns, actually, we've had 3 French players in our history. So obviously, the 2 of you. And I'm gonna pose this one to Elie to see if he knows a little bit about his son's history. He's got to know this. Who is the 3rd player, Elie?
Who's the 3rd player to play for the Suns?
You want to help him out, Boris?
I think Michael played, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah, Michael. Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, it was short time, but he was there for a little bit.
Yep.
I always thought it was Mikel Petrus, but you guys call him Michael.
Well, no, it's Michael in French, but try to help you out.
Hey, before we go to the break, Boris, you are still a part of the French national team, and we've seen you in Phoenix. You go around to other NBA cities talking and mentoring some of the other French players. Tell us about that position.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I feel like I never left the national team. Like I said, I did my last game playing basketball was with the French national team about 2.5, 3 years ago. And then I jumped right away into management for the national team. So I feel like I never left. National team always being a big part of my life. And so now, I get to give back, and it's good because I get to oversee all the young guys, all the young French players coming up and trying to keep the tradition going and keep France, winning on an international level.
Great stuff. And coming up on Valley Chats, more with Boris and Elie Okobo. But next, we're going to hear from a Phoenix Suns season ticket holder who has a question for both of them when we come back on Valley Chats.
Do you want to win free tickets to every Suns home game next season? Then just watch and win. Tune into the Suns Day Classic broadcast on Fox Sports Arizona and look for a special code word. Enter the code word online at suns.com/watch or on the Suns and Talking Stick Resort Arena app. Don't miss your chance to win 2 PayPal 6-man season ticket memberships for next season. Enter right now using the code word on the screen.
Feel a transformation coming within our culture of our team, our city, and now our arena. Valley boys and girls, the future is looking super bright.
Ray Jr. makes thunderous left hand. Moving the drive.
And this is our house. Make this your house.
Welcome back to Valley Chats, presented by First Bank, now with our 6th man member, Anna Martinez. Anna, welcome. I know Joshua is not there with you now, but it sounds like he's the reason. Your 14-year-old son, who is a big basketball fan, Suns fan, and the reason why you became 6-man members.
That is correct, Tom. I wasn't very much into basketball, but he started all at the age of 4, and basically the rest is history. Here we are, 4 years in our 6-man season, and loving every moment of it.
And now he's 14, right? And he had his golden birthday, April 14th. What did you do special for him during this quarantine?
Well, not so much we could have done, but we did try to make the best of it. We did a little social distance friendly party for him, set up the front porch with a beautiful Sun's cake, some purple and orange balloons, and just had some friends and cousins stop by to sing him happy birthday.
Nice. I don't know if he still fits in that Steve Nash jersey. It sounds like that was the first jersey he ever received. But who's his current favorite player?
Of course, Booker right now. Booker and Kelly Oubre.
Gotcha. That's awesome. Yeah, those are two very popular players. So I read your letter to the Suns, and it says you guys are loyal 6-man members. You love everything about it. What most do you love about being a 6-man member?
The experience, the game, seeing his happiness, although, sometimes it's not always a happy ending, but just making the best of it, always going in with high hopes and learning the basketball players, learning their technique, and just analyzing the whole game together. So the whole experience together is great to have with my son.
Well, I know you and Joshua both had a chance to watch the Suns during that 7 seconds or less era with Steve Nash and Boris Diaw, who is on that team. Boris and Elie Okobo are our 2 guests on Valley Chats this week. What question would you like to ask them?
Well, with all the unfortunate events going on, just, how is it all coming down in France and how everybody's holding up?
All right, that sounds good. We will pose that question to Boris and Elie when we come back. Give our best to Joshua. Stay safe, and thanks for joining us, Anna.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more Valley Chats right after this.
The Valley. El Valle. This is who we are. A community bound by perseverance and tested by life in the desert. We are fighters and innovators.
Here's Nash to the rim and shot it.
With the common goal of a better tomorrow. And when we get knocked down, we get back up. When we are challenged, we are ready.
It's good! She got it! The GOAT delivers again!
In dark times, we know that if we pull together, we will rise again. And together, we will be stronger. Because together, hope will thrive. Together, we are the Valley.
Welcome back to Valley Chats, the French Connection. Elie Okobo and Boris Diaw joining us this week. All right, we just heard from Anna Martinez, who has a question for both of you. She wants to know, how are your families doing in France right now, and what's the situation like there? Let's start with you, Elie.
My family is doing great. I have them on the phone every day. They're all in Bordeaux. They can't really go out that easy, but they're working at home. They're doing their thing, and they all have all this social distancing, and they're taking care of themselves.
Boris?
Yeah, so everybody's doing good also. But like say Elie, it's a lot different than in the US right now. Like they're really confined. Like if they go out for not a good reason, they would get fined actually for just walking in the streets. So it's a little bit different. But they're doing good. They're allowed to go to the grocery store and take the dogs out for like an hour per day. But like everybody, I mean, they're just waiting for it to calm and are eager also to come back out. But at the same time, they know that if we're doing that, it's because it's very important. So they're really respecting all the rules.
How would you guys describe this? I mean, as you go around town and social distancing and maybe even going into grocery stores or, wearing a mask and seeing other people wearing masks. I mean, to me, it feels like an out-of-body experience that, maybe years down the road, we're going to look back and go, what in the world did we persevere through? What's it been like for you, Elie?
Oh yeah, obviously it was like really weird the first time I went to the groceries and I see everybody with their mask, and there's almost nothing in the grocery store. They took everything, and it's my first time experiencing it, and you can tell that right now it's really important to have this social distancing to make sure you don't go and see a lot of people and all that. So I really take care of myself, and you have to be careful with everything you're doing right now.
And Boris, you have kind of the luxury of living by the mountains, the Wasatch Mountains in Utah. So you have a chance to actually go outside, maybe even hop on the snowmobile from time to time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a lot easier to do it over here than it would be to do it in France right now, because being aware and staying away from people, you actually can do a lot more. Everybody thought it would be a possibility that it would happen one day, the pandemic and stuff like that. Everybody talked about it, but that's nothing that everybody thought we would actually do in our lifetime, so it's really different. And then living this is crazy, and then hopefully soon we look back on it, it's like, okay, now we see what can happen with the pandemic, and we'll be a little more prepared for the future.
Well, we look back a little bit at your career with the Suns, but I always think too about that title you won with the San Antonio Spurs in 2014. And I remember watching this. I don't know if you agree with me, Elie, but throughout most of that series, you guys beat the Heat 4-1. If it weren't for Kawhi, and I think Kawhi having a good scoring game in that Game 5, my Finals MVP was you, Boris. You dominated that series without scoring a lot of points, but with your rebounding, your assists, your defense. I mean, you always were able to move your feet. Did you feel at that time, Boris, like you were in contention to be the NBA Finals MVP?
I mean, there was some talks about it, but I don't know if it was, something that was really going to happen or serious about it. But yeah, my role changed a little bit in that series, and it's a lot because of what Miami were doing. They were really trying to cut down the big three, with Tony and Manu and Tim Duncan, and trying to get the ball out of the hands of Tony every time. Tony would just kick the ball back to me, and then I would kind of become the second point guard after that double team, and we would have an advantage. So I just try to do that as best as I could.
How impressed were you watching Boris in those finals, Elie?
I mean, what he's talking about right now, it worked out. He was doing a great job. I remember when he had the ball in a post-up and he threw it behind the back pass, like without looking. That was crazy. And, he always made the good choices. He always make it look like it's easy. And during the final against like the great Miami Heat at that time, it was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, you actually helped break up the Heatles. That's what they called them, not the Beatles, the Heatles. So yeah, LeBron took off, went back to Cleveland after that. He'd had enough. So you talked about Tony Parker. I want to ask you guys, because there have been some really good players in the NBA from France. Tony has got to be at the top of the ladder when you talk about the best players from France to play in the NBA. Boris, give me some other names. Your top 5 French players in the league.
That ever played in the league?
Yep.
I don't know. That would be hard to get a top 5. But yeah, I mean, for sure, for years we had a lot of great players coming in the NBA. But Tony was really the first that kind of opened up all the French guys coming straight from France. We had a couple of guys before. Moiso and Tariq Abdul-Wahad was playing in the NBA before Tony, but they were playing in college. So it was a lot different for all the European guys coming. I mean, obviously you had Batum. Right now you have Fournier, you have Gobert. Dana, is an all-star player. So all these players are bringing a lot to their team. And it's good. Like I say, it's great to see all the French kids. And it's good for the French national team. So I cannot complain about it.
Other players you looked up to, Elie?
The French players, yeah. I mean, I looked up to like Boris, Tony Parker. And now, I'm getting a lot of advices from Rudy, Fournier, Batum, and they're all great. We have this like French community in the NBA, and every time we go into cities to city, we just talk. We go into the restaurant, we talk about basketball. the life here in the U.S. and all that, and it's pretty cool. And yeah, like Boris said, there's a lot of great French player in the league right now.
All right, well, Elie's star power has certainly grown over the last month or so. We'll talk about his music video with Drake and also our quarantine Q&A with Boris, Diaw, and Elie Okobo when we come back on Valley Chats, presented by First Bank.
I feel a transformation coming within our culture of our team, our city, and now our arena.
Valley boys and girls, the city is continuing to grow. The future is looking super bright as this transformation comes along, and it's only going to be up from here.
Drake Jr., they thunder his left hand.
We have something special going on here.
Ruby on the drive.
People are going to love coming here, and we're going to start a big thing here.
Cam Johnson in the corner. Shazam!
The team is transforming, and this building is going to transform along with them.
Baines takes it down and bunkers it. With a right-handed rim wrecker.
This is our house.
Make this your house.
We are back on Valley Chats presented by First Bank with Boris, Diaw, and Elie Okobo. So yeah, I saw Boris kind of shaking his head as we went to the commercial break when I brought up the Drake music video. I mean, you talk about star power and a major role in a music video. You're on for about a second and a half, you and Devin Booker. How did that happen, and how much feedback have you gotten from being on Drake's music video?
I mean, that was fun. I think it was after the All-Star break. We went to play against Toronto, and we all went to the restaurant with Booker and his friend, and then we went to Drake's house. And that was kind of crazy. And we were just chilling out there, you know, just doing our thing. And then some guys came in with some cameras, and they were recording. And then they just asked us, "Oh, is it cool if we just record you guys for like a little bit, just for a new music video?" And we did it, and it was fun. We had to sign this little paper that said we can put our face in this video. And yeah, it was fun to have this experience. You know, Drake is like a big artist. I'm a big fan, and be able to talk to him and hang out with them, it was really cool.
You don't look impressed, Boris.
Well, okay, so when I heard that Elie was in the Drake video, you know, I went and looked for him. And it's really Devin Booker that's in the video.
Yeah, I mean,
Elie is out of focus. Like, you don't really see him. He's blurry. So unless you're his mom or his girlfriend, there's no way you recognize him.
You know, I had some feedbacks, man. I don't
even understand why they made you sign a paper, because usually when somebody's blurry, you don't have to sign a paper to read your picture. You know, it's like in the streets, like they blur you out. So I felt like they blurred you out. I don't know why you signed a paper.
They made me sign it because we saw me. We saw my face. We can't recognize me.
I love this, man. Big brother, little brother. This is good stuff. All right, we do this thing called Quarantine Q&A to wrap up our Valley Chats. You guys ready for this?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
All right. Aside from toilet paper, all right, aside from TP, and that's not Tony Parker, it's toilet paper. When you have to go to the store, what is that one essential item you need to purchase? Elie, you first.
Orange juice.
No, that would be a nice, good quality piece of meat. So usually I like to go with either bison, you know, steak, or Wagyu, or something good, because, you know, it's
okay.
You know, stay churning up. You need good meat.
You know, either that, you could go to the store, or you could just go to Tom Chambers Ranch there in Utah, Boris, and you guys could just go hunting for that.
Yeah, I don't know where he is, but yeah, I'll ask Tom if I can.
Pretty sure he's your neighbor out there. All right, best source of entertainment during the quarantine. Boris, you first.
I mean, Entertainment, that would be definitely Netflix, you know, watching some TV shows and movies. Actually, right now, I love watching Last Dance, you know, so on a Sunday, I'm just tuning in and watching Last Dance. I think it's great that they're doing this documentary actually now, because a lot of the young guys don't really know, and a lot of people don't remember who was Michael Jordan and what he brought to the game and what he was doing. So it's great for me to be able to go back and watch some of those footage.
How about you, Elie?
Yeah, I mean, the same. I'm watching The Last Dance. I'm watching the episodes. I kind of trying to understand how Michael Jordan was and what was this team at that time. And that was crazy. And I'm watching Netflix. I started during this quarantine, The Walking Dead. And, you know, it's a big journey to go all the way to the end.
I know one of your forms of entertainment when the all clear arrives will be going back to Topgolf. I know you're big. You've been working on your golf game. Are you a lefty, Elie?
Yeah, I'm lefty. I got my left gloves, and you know, I'm practicing it. I'm getting better.
That's my kind of golf, right? I hit from the wrong side too. Yeah. Okay. Next one, quarantine Q&A. When we get the all clear, who's the first person you need to hug? Boris?
Well, I'll probably go back, you know, to France and see my mom and my brother. So yeah, they quarantine in France right now, and I'm quarantined in the US. So definitely go see them and my dog.
Yeah, I might do the same thing, trying to see my family. You know, obviously they were here in Phoenix and they went back in France right before the quarantine started. So, you know, be able to see them and, you know, make sure they're okay and hug them. You know, family is important.
Do you guys think when this quarantine is over and go back to playing basketball, that you're still going to see high fives and you're going to still see chest bumps, or is that going to change down the road?
I think it's going to change for a little bit. I mean, eventually we're going to get back to that, but I think, you know, right first when we come back and, you know, at least for even, you know, beginning of next season, I don't think we're going to see that as much. So yeah, it's going to change for everybody, you know, basketball and outside and offices and everything. I think we're not going to shake hands for a while.
And Elie, I can't imagine not having the Kelly Oubre handshakes when you guys go out for introductions.
Yeah, we're going to go like from far, you know, it'll be fun, but practicing. Yeah, we ready. We ready. No, but yeah, I mean, you got to get used to it and, you know, go back in step by step.
Guys, I appreciate it so much. This was really special to have you both on together. We appreciate your time and for joining us on Valley Chats. Elie, I'm sure I'll see you soon enough. And Boris, please keep in touch. One of my all-time favorites. 3D, great to see you.
Great to see you too.
And we'll see you next time on Valley Chats.